Am I the asshole for not wanting to take out a car on my name for my boyfriend? IF, 25, have been with my boyfriend, 27, for 3 years. He sold his car 2 months ago and is currently saving for a new one, or so I thought. We live in the Caribbean. Last night he came over and asked me what I thought about him using his car money to start a car wash. I told him that he can use the space he has at home to open a car wash and he doesn't necessarily need to use all his money to open a business, as simple as that. He said the vision he has is to also include auto detailing and that he would use the money to purchase equipment for it. I told him that I don't think it's a good idea, but I'll support him if he decides to do it. He then said that he's happy I'm on his side because he wants us to do something together. I thought he meant me helping with his business, but no. He explained that his idea of together is me taking out a loan for a car that will be on my name, but he will drive it because I don't drive. When I asked who will be making the payments, he said the bank will take the money out of my account every month and he will pay half. I told him that I am absolutely not paying half for a car I am not driving. He said it would be our car and that when I eventually get my license, I'll be able to drive it too. I said that this entire scenario makes no sense as I have no intention of driving anytime soon and literally anything can happen. I asked if we break up, what then? He said even if we break up, he will continue paying for his share of the share, so I won't bear that payment. When I asked why he can't just pay for the full payment, he said he plans to leave his job and do his car wash, detailing business full-time, so he won't be able to cover the full payment until his business takes off. I told him that I'm sorry, but I can't take out a loan for him nor put a car in my name when he is so unstable. He called me a selfish one he can't see a future with, and left. Now, he won't speak to me. My mom says I'm in the right, but now I feel bad because if I don't take out the loan, he won't be able to. Am I the asshole? Update. Hi guys. Thank you so much for giving your opinions, stories, advice, everything. I truly appreciate it and it helped make my decision a lot easier. So, he called me earlier and broke up with me on the basis of partners are supposed to share everything, and he can't trust me to hold him down when he's down. After an earful about how I think I'm better than him because of my job, how I look down on him, and how I don't want to see him be successful, I called his mom, we're very close, and let her know that we broke up and why we broke up. She was very upset to say the least, but reassured me that I made the right decision. She said that she told him not to sell the car, but he went ahead and did it anyway. After we spoke, she wished me well and I went to get something to eat. I guess she told him something about it because he texted me shortly after. I'm just going to copy and paste what he said. Text convo. Him. How childish do you have to be to call my mom? Me. I wanted her to know that we broke up and why. Him. Just say you wanted to manipulate her and make her believe I'm trying to leech off of you. What, have you ever phoned for me? Tell me. Him. You know what's sad? You were supposed to be the person I could come to for anything. I had my own car, something you never had, and I sold it because it was getting too expensive and I wanted something more efficient. You know that, so I don't know why you trying to fuck up what my family thinks about me and make me look like I begging you for car. Him. SMH, you are the biggest asshole and the most selfish person I ever met. Him. Why couldn't you just be happy for me? Why couldn't you just believe in my dreams? You really think I would leave you after you got a car for me? You have no common sense and that's why people will use you. You too dumb for an educated woman and that's why we broke up. Go tell her that. End of text convo. Yeah. Lol. I didn't respond to any of those messages. But I did get a massive headache immediately after reading them. Anyway, thanks a lot for all your help, guys. I really appreciate it. Not the asshole. I'm sorry, but it sounds like he's trying to scam you or rip you off. Absolutely do not sign for this man's car. Not the asshole. I asked if we break up, what then? Exactly. Too messy, especially when he's leaving his job to start a new business. He won't have steady income with a new business and you'll end up having to pay off the loan. Not the asshole. He's using you and trying to manipulate you. You would be making 100% of the car payments because his business just can't swing the cost in the beginning. Plus, any tickets or any fines he get will be attached to the car. That means, you would be responsible. Not the asshole. It's a terrible idea. Don't do it. Not the asshole. Run. Am I the asshole for not telling my roommate I own the house? Brief backstory. About a year ago my last remaining grandparent passed away and my father inherited all assets, including a house. I had been saving for a nice down payment, at least 50%, so I could have a lower mortgage payment each month, thus allowing me to save money for travel. When my father inherited this house, which he had no interest in moving into yet, he offered to sell it to me for slightly below market rate, with the caveat that he and my stepmother could eventually move into the basement apartment. I agreed, because they're both incredible people who are not at all invasive and would give me my privacy if they lived there. So I paid a 60% down payment, financed the rest, and moved in. Present day. About 6 months ago I started considering renting out the finished basement apartment. It has 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a living room, and a small kitchenette, sink, fridge, microwave, but no oven. A friend of mine said his brother was moving to my city and needed a place. He's a brand new teacher and doesn't make great money, so he needed a place that wasn't expensive. I offered to let him rent my basement for way less than market rate, $650, which would include utilities. He readily accepted and signed a year-long lease. Well, a few days ago he asked if he could start paying the landlord directly instead of giving me rent money each month. I was under the impression my friend had told him I own the house, so I was confused and I told him we don't have a landlord and that I'm the owner. He got very upset and screamed at me for lying for over 6 months, and taking advantage of him, by making him pay so much in rent. For the record, an apartment similar to the one in my house would be well over twice what he's paying me, closer to 3 times for something as nice. He asked how much of my mortgage he's covering and I said, why does that matter? You're getting a nice, quiet place to live, access to a full kitchen and laundry room, and you're paying an amount that you can afford. My personal finances aren't really a factor here. He stormed out of the room and slammed the basement door. He's still not speaking to me. I asked a few other friends and some family members, and most said I'm wrong for having him cover my mortgage payments. Only a few say I'm in the right. So am I the asshole for having my roommate cover $650 of my $775 per month mortgage? ETA. He has a lease, so I won't be evicting him over this alone. If he does any damage or becomes hostile, I'll look at the eviction process. But for now, he will remain unless he chooses to break the lease, which I'd allow him to do if he wants. He also didn't bother to read the lease before signing. The lease clearly states I'm the homeowner. I didn't trick him or keep info from him. He simply didn't read what he was signing. I didn't get the house for almost free as some people choose to believe. My father sold it to me for about 75% of its value, more or less as an advance on rent he and my stepmother will pay when they move in here in a few years. We already agreed they won't pay monthly rent but will contribute to utilities and groceries at that time. I also made a 60% down payment, so I have quite a bit invested, as well as paying about $1,500 per month out of pocket for taxes, insurance, maintenance, utilities, etc. Not the asshole. He's paying well below market rate and the amount you're paying in rent shouldn't impact this as it's your house. Would he expect to live there for free if you had already paid off the house and had no monthly payment? Not the asshole. Ask them what their problem is. You were planning on renting it out. You found someone to rent it to and you gave a lowered rent because it was through a friend. The renting was always going to happen. So why not to an acquaintance at a lowered rent as opposed to a stranger for a market rate? Where is the difference in this other than they get a deal? Am I not allowed to rent it out? Because I own it? What are you trying to say here? Frankly, it sounds like they're just salty you have the option and they don't. So it's better to villainize you as a greedy landlord, instead of just a poor tenant. Conversely, you can also invite this person to go look at rental rates in the surrounding area and come back to you when he finds anything lower than what you're offering. Not the asshole. You can own the house outright and rent rooms for a profit. Let him know he's free to break the lease and look for a cheaper place. Not the asshole. Why is he okay with paying some mysterious landlord, but not you as a landlord? Who did he think he was signing a lease with? Definitely not the asshole. Who cares who the landlord is? He is getting a great deal on rent. Some people just don't get it. It doesn't matter how much your mortgage is. Tell him to grow up or move out. Am I the asshole for being upset that my relative gifted me intimate hygiene products for my birthday? I, 20-something F. am having a birthday coming up soon. As of posting this, it's actually tomorrow. I rarely receive gifts from relatives, though sometimes they send cards. 2 of my relatives are going to be staying with my parents and I for a little while soon, as we live in a pretty touristy destination. It was kinda last minute, but no big deal. Anyway, so one of the relatives in question, we will call her Lynn, she's in her 60s. Tells my mother that she was going to send a present to me in the mail, and also was going to be mailing some of her personal supplies. I'm not sure why. Maybe so there's not issues with TSA? So to be on the lookout for both of those packages. I, admittedly, was kind of excited. Lynn is known for being a bit eccentric, usually sending silly socks or even funny hats and the sort, and I'm honestly just grateful to be given any gift considering my age, or so I thought. Today, my mother goes to get the mail and comes back in with a medium-sized box. She said she wasn't sure if it was for me, and I look at the box. The box has a huge brand on the back, and I immediately recognize it as being famous for being advertised as deodorant for your privates. I laughed at this, and immediately assumed it was for Lynn, and joked about how the box could stand to be a little more discreet. My mother didn't know what the brand was, nor that it was so heavily marketed as what it was. About an hour ago, I came downstairs to see what we were going to make for dinner, and my mother hands me the box again, and says it's for me. I look at the box, and it's the same one from earlier. I assume she's joking, so I laugh and hand the box back to her and give her a sarcastic, "Thank you." She doesn't laugh. She says she called Lynn, and that the deodorant was for me. I honestly still think she's joking until she says, "You could stand to be a little more grateful." Lynn and I aren't that close, and we certainly aren't close enough for her to unprompted send me that kind of thing as a gift. My mother is angry at me now, and says I should just take the gift and be happy about it, but I, on the other hand, feel really gross about the whole thing. I might understand if it was a unique bar of soap, or some weird eclectic body wash, but the product is very clearly and loudly marketed as a deodorant for your privates. I'm a very reserved person, and I don't feel comfortable sharing that aspect of my life with my relatives. Beyond all else, it just feels humiliating to me. My father also said I'm making a big deal out of nothing, but I can't shake how invasive and weird this feels. I'm almost certain they wouldn't feel this way if one of my male relatives had sent this product to me, but I know it's not fair to raise that point. They're both telling me I'm being ridiculous and ungrateful for the gift, and I honestly am starting to believe that they're right and that I should just be happy to have gotten anything for my birthday at all. Am I the asshole? Maybe, just maybe, your aunt has also seen it heavily marketed, with younger people and thought you may like it. Assuming it's the brand I think it is. 1. It's expensive. 2. It's not just for private parts, but all parts. 3. I have used it and it works well, and if she included a body wash, that stuff is amazing. At her age, she could have just seen one of the hilarious ads and thought you would like it. Maybe she tried it and loved it, so she shared some with you. I know the brand you are taking about and everyone says it's amazing. You're 20, not a child. Call your aunt. Thank her for sending you a gift and ask her why she chose that. Instead of sitting and getting in your head about all the weird things it could mean. Just ask. That shit is good stuff and expensive, I'd be happy. It's just deodorant. Okay. You might feel it's a bit icky, especially being younger, but you said yourself she gives eccentric gifts. Just say thanks, and if you really don't want it, donate the whole box to a women's shelter or Goodwill or something. Honestly, I've had some utterly bizarre gifts from people over the years, especially my ex-husband. I've always just said thanks and then either put it away never to be looked at again or given it away. Not the asshole it does come across as a totally inappropriate gift, and those products are total bullshit anyway. Am I the asshole for punishing my spouse for leaving the keys to my car inside the car? Hi Reddit. Obligatory on mobile warning. Too long did not read. I took away the keys to our car, that I mainly drive, for a day after my wife left them in the unlocked car. She thinks that it was a punishment, but I think it was rightfully reasonable after she has done this many times. Me, 28F, my wife, 38F, and our daughter, 11 male F, spent the day driving around and we went to the beach. We put our keys onto a plastic bag in the wet bag we brought so they wouldn't get wet or full of sand. When we were done, I took my keys out of both bags to place them in my purse, and she took the plastic bag out of the wet bag and put it into the cup holder of the car. I moved the keys out of the bag, since it was a clean doggy bag, to toss the bag out and put it into the key spot. Cause some people are confused that there is a specific key holder in my car right next to the cup holder, and if you place the keys into the cup holder they can't be seen. I also don't care where she puts the keys in the car. I often have mine in my bag, in the car for the ride home. When we got home we unpacked the car, she plugged it in after I opened the charge port, via the button on the inside of the car, cause I forgot that there was a button on the fob and she was already outside of the car, and we went inside. Hours later I asked her if she locked the car. I had my hands full when we went inside with the bags from the day, and I have told her time again that when she drives our car she's responsible for locking it. Since her car automatically locks and ours doesn't, she'll forget and leave it unlocked when we park it. She claimed she locked the car, and went to find the key to prove that she did. She couldn't find the key. So I told her she probably left the keys in my car again. She said she would go look in the car, but I said I'd go, and I started out in the car. Surprise, they were in the car. Since this wasn't the first time she forgot them inside the car, I was angry. She started blaming me for moving them out of the doggy bag and into the key spot, where they belong. Then she said that I should be responsible for her key to the car, since she went to plug in the car and my car has a locked latch, and apparently I unlocked it for her and it removed a fail-safe she has to remember in the keys? I was trying to get our daughter into the house and the stuff gathered, so unlocking the charge port for her was me trying to be nice and get stuff done faster. I told her I was keeping the keys for a bit because this wasn't the first time she left them in the car and she needs to remember the keys. I left them at home in a spot that I would remove, but she didn't know, so that if there was an emergency while I was at work that she could still use the car, but so that she couldn't use it unless she needed to. Am I being unreasonable? Was there something else I should have done? She thinks I'm out of line for doing this. I think it was a fair punishment. Am I the asshole? Info. Explain to me how this isn't a punishment. I told her I was keeping the keys for a bit because this wasn't the first time she left them in the car and she needs to remember the keys. That certainly sounds like a punishment. You are the asshole. She's not a fucking child. Am I the asshole for punishing my wife? Yes. Doesn't matter what you wrote after that beginning, you are the asshole. There is a lot wrong with this post. She's wrong to always forget them, but you don't punish your partner. Consider counseling? Is it possible to have car key duplicates?